Yeah.
Okay, we are live on Facebook. We are recording here and we're the top of the hour. So welcome everybody to another Global Expansion Team Zoom. Tonight we have Dorothy Dabney and Joyce Barron joining Bo and I to talk about vision. And vision in this business is so critical. And it's one of those things that you're seeing something. You're seeing where you're going to go in, whether you're conscious or unconscious of what it is, you're seeing something. So really, fine tuning that skill of vision, what you see, where you want to go, and going there on purpose, deliberately, as opposed to just kind of floating, bobbing around in the ocean. It's like you're managing your sails in a sailboat, pointing towards a certain target, as opposed to just lifting the anchor and bobbing around the ocean and letting the ocean take you wherever the ocean wants to take you. So that's what we're going to be talking about for the next half an hour. So Joyce and Dorothy, thanks so much for joining us.
You're welcome. It's great to be here. Thank you.
Yeah, so let's just give this conversation a little bit of context. Dorothy, what were you doing when somebody told you about ASEA? What were you doing?
Well, I was doing a little bit of everything. I have an art background and I was no longer teaching, but I was substitute teaching. I was also working for a company that helped organize school trips for middle school. It was kind of like cold calling. And also I was doing, I did a little bit around Charlottesville. I was an extra in a movie and, just whatever, just kind of piecing it together. Not real sure what I wanted to do, but
okay.
Yeah.
And then when you were introduced to ASEA, when you looked forward at your life, why did you decide to incorporate ASEA into your life?
I really had no clue why I did what I did. And my friend Sarah introduced it to me at church. We were both serving on a team, greeting people. And I was, what are you talking about? Get away from me. And I avoided her. And those were in the days when you could see a caller ID on your landline. And I would not answer the phone. And I don't know what it was, but I was intrigued. And in the middle of the night, I ordered from her website. And she didn't even know I'd ordered because things were a little bit different then. But I just decided to give it a go. And the rest, I've never missed a day from that day. My husband was with me and we were like, oh, this sounds interesting. So how from that day has your vision expanded as to, what ASEA is, who ASEA is, and where, how you can use ASEA to get to places that you want to go in your life? How has that vision expanded as time's gone on and you've been, going to events and meeting people, other people that are doing this, with you and that kind of thing? Well, and I've been in this almost 10 years, and I remember meeting you and Bo at an event in Baltimore, riding up to it with Sarah and thinking, am I going to a cult meeting? I had no clue what any of this was about. And I was a little bit apprehensive, but I remember walking in the room and just everyone was so kind. Vertus Norton was walking around the room. I mean, if that doesn't do it for you, what does? But I just began to feel like something in me was rising a little bit higher beyond anything I had experienced before. And, we're fast forwarding quite a few years, but they say it's personal growth disguised as a business. And I think that the teachings I've been introduced to and the good feeling you have when you've made a difference in someone's life. And I don't know if I'm answering your question, but I look around. I mean, I'm not a young person, but I look around at friends my age and they don't have a vision. They're just shutting down and turning into old people. And I don't really, it's terrible to think you leave behind old friends, but this is my family. And these are the people that surround me and lift me up. And I feel like that's what I want to do for other people. And I really love meeting people I don't know. Most of the people that I've brought in, I didn't know before. So
it's so interesting. It's so interesting you say that. I remember talking to Kathy and Marty Moore, And when they first got into ASEA, they said that they were older people and their world was shrinking, is what he had said. And then they got into ASEA, and all of a sudden their world expanded again. And there was people that they had never known that were already part of this big project called ASEA. And because they were also involved in this project, they were part of this community where everybody was focused on doing a similar thing together in different avenues. So it's interesting that you say that. Yeah, Joyce, what were you doing when somebody told you about ASEA?
I was traveling, so I was overseas. I was in China for a year, and it just wasn't the right time for me when I first looked at this. And then a few years later, my sister had a profound experience for her son. She gave it to my parents. They had a profound experience. I continued traveling internationally, and I came back from another assignment. I had been in India for almost a year and was spending time with my parents. And I got to see the change in my parents, which was pretty significant in their early 80s. And it helped with their energy, their sleep. It restored my mother's ability to smell and taste. Her saliva glands had stopped working for 4 years, and she couldn't even swallow her food. So that was a big shift that ASEA within 4 months brought all that back for her. And then I was like, what is this stuff? I thought it was just some nutritional. I really didn't understand it in the beginning. But when you have profound changes like that in your parents, you need to look at it, right?
So you looked at it from a product perspective, and it sounds like it got validated from a product perspective. But so why did you sign up as an associate? Not only was it just to share the product with other people, or did you see how this was a way to work for yourself from anywhere, create some additional income, create a plan B? Were any of those thoughts in your mind, or was it strictly, this is a moral obligation to share this incredible discovery with other people?
It was selfish. I was exhausted. Corporate America will burn you out. I'd been in network marketing before with all of you, actually. For about 8 or 9 years, did well as a single mom with it. It was great additional income. I got burned out. But corporate America, I realized always having that side business kept my attitude up. Because without it, my attitude was tanking. The politics in corporate America was burning me out. My time in China and India was culturally intense, which was rewarding, but some of the politics that got involved were very unpleasant. And I came back burnt out. And so I remember talking with Jeanette. For those who don't know Jeanette, she's now my sponsor, but also my twin sister. I was really miserable, depressed. And she said, just come to the convention. I said, I'll go because I miss my friends. And I really did. I missed the power and the positivity of those involved in network marketing and our previous company. So I went just to, see friends. I missed the social interaction of network marketing. I missed the positive, everyone supporting each other to help that person reach their goals. We're a selfless team of people. Even though we're selfish, wanting what we want for ourselves, we're really selfless in many ways because we really support each other. We encourage each other. And that's not something you get in corporate America.
Yeah.
So I realized later, I'll never leave network marketing as an industry because it brings out the best in people.
Yeah.
So that's what drew me back in. And then the product experience was, I didn't have a profound one. I had a cold sore that went away overnight. That was pretty profound. If you have a cold sore, they take forever. But for my parents, again, I started to see things. And Foster Melman said, you wait till you see the miracles. And he's right.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing when something happens right in front of your eyes. I remember I was at a fly-in with Trish Winkler when we were first looking at this. And she's so diligent. Every 10 minutes, she would be spraying this cold sore, the sun blister that she had on her lip. And we went in at 9 o'clock in the morning, hear this noise every 10 minutes, very, like a machine. But by the time we walked out of there at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, the thing was gone. Unbelievable. And I had these experiences before where I had a little, I don't know, a sty, I don't know what you call it, on my eye, a plugged pore in my eye that's extremely uncomfortable and it looks awful. And I sprayed that thing right in front of Bo's mother all night, one night for, I don't know, must have been 2 or 3 hours, and the thing vanished before our eyes while I was sitting there. I mean, it's unbelievable. So, something's going on. Sometimes we need a reminder like that, but, but beyond the product, what the vision of what this business can do for our lives is massive. And a lot of people, including myself, don't take a lot of time to really sit down and carve out a vision for really, really deliberately where they want to go. But Bo, let's ask you, what were you doing? What were you doing when, well, I know what you were doing, but you tell everybody what you were doing when we found out about ASEA, and when you learned more about ASEA, how did your vision change of what was possible for us in our lives?
Well, when we found ASEA, I was a project manager for a company, and we were building a replica 1860s Western town to museum grade for a billionaire. And I tell you, it just, every single day I went up there, I mean, very, very interesting project, great people, but talk about building someone else's dream and someone else's asset. And that was something that both Cindy and I had wanted to do. We wanted to do it for ourselves. We wanted to be in charge of our own destiny. And I was driving about an hour and a half back and forth on a, well, Cindy would say dangerous mountain pass. There were rock slides, mud slides, water slides, all sorts of stuff. And I'd end up staying on the floor of the trailer some nights. But bottom line is I'd get up and leave about 4:30 in the morning and get home 7 to 8:30 at night. We'd have dinner, we'd go to bed and do it again. And I did it 6 days a week, 1 week, 5 days a week the next. We had no social life. We basically didn't have any personal life. Thank God the kids were off in college. So that's where we were right then. And we were looking, I guess the word is, for a way out. And our vision when we saw ASEA was looking at each other. I mean, I looked at Cindy and I said, so are we in? After we had met Virtus, after we had met Tyler, we had been through the presentation, understood. I said, are we in? And she says, we are so in. And at that point, we had the vision of what could be done was to get me out of my job. And we went back home, and Cindy started working ASEA, and I worked for Our Money Now, and she worked for Our Future. And in 26 months, we were able to get me to quit, or I was able to quit my job and join her full time in ASEA. And it's been like that for about 11 years now. Right.
So do any of you guys create vision boards? Do you do any other things besides making vision boards? You know,
I'm going to show you mine. They're right on my wall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Dorothy's in her second home, so she doesn't have her vision board there. Is that right?
I have my vision board over in DeLand, but I don't take it with me to the Hampton Inn usually.
Oh,
And I want to add, you talked about where we were when we came into this. It's really, as you said, you sort of grow with it. And recently, it is the realism that ageism does exist, and everyone around me in their 40s is getting promoted but me. And it hit my ego. And then I thought, but you really don't want to be promoted. You really want to just build your own business. And so I've always envisioned this as being my next level. I know we talk about next level marketing, but in me, it's the next level of my life. It's the next chapter. So I can ease out of that and build a social network. So like Dorothy and you were saying earlier about the Marty Morin, I don't want my social world to get smaller. I have too much fun. I honestly said to Jeanette the other day, you know who I really want to go vacation with? Cindy and Bo Buck, David. I want to hang out with them. I need to just get this business off the ground because I want to go. That's who I like being with. So that's why we've got these boards. I've got different things up here. And you were just saying, surround yourself, by people who lift you higher. This is my grandson. I want this chair on my front when I go bronze. So I have my little vision boards all set up. So absolutely, I refreshed the vision board to answer your question.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Bo and Dorothy, do you guys do anything to really sharpen your vision to keep you focused on where you're going? If you do the right things consistently every day, sometimes it feels like you're mastering the mundane. But do you do anything to keep you focused on why this is important to you, so you don't get distracted and all of a sudden another year has gone by and you haven't made any progress in your business?
Well, in addition, I have a vision board, but I last week got to go out to corporate. I went to a fly-in. I'd never been to one before. And I have a new associate, and her husband was going to go with her, but he was unable to travel with her. And she brought her 18-year-old son. And that young man, everyone knew who he was after that day, because he was just a sharp guy, just very poised, very self-confident, and thinking about him. And, I used to work with kids. I've always liked the high school age. I like them because, when you're with kids with a dream, it's so exciting to talk to them, find out what they want. And lately that seems to be something that's coming into my scope. I love to meet people I don't know. And I don't know, I seem to be connecting with a lot of, well, that's what happens. A lot of younger people that want a different, they don't want to fall into that 40-year, trap. And when they tell me what their dreams are, I listen and I think, what can I do for you? And it's not so much about a SIA, but through conversation and thinking, who do I know? Networking. It's all about networking. And it's just been feeling so good. And they want to know about a SIA because they see the genuine emotion and caring that, it's real. And I love that. And I was going to say one more thing, that when I was talking about that movie that I was in, I was an extra for all these days, you got paid very little, but we sat around waiting for nothing much to happen all day long. And I remember that experience, thinking to myself, because I talked to everybody, and I thought, I want to get paid for talking to people. And it's not about, getting something from someone, but I thought, if you do what you love, and then fast forward, and I hear Alan Noble saying that's basically what this is. It's just getting to know people and, serving them. And, that's my vision. Also, serving, you and I, all of, we've all been to Ecuador, and I got to go to Cambodia, and but I'd say, I'm all over the place, but going to the fly-in last week was just so great, and seeing new people and seeing their excitement over where we are and the integrity of this. No fancy cars, just wanting to serve and be a force for good in the world.
Yeah. There's a portion of people that get into this and they just want to take a little bit of heat off the pressure that's on them to pay their bills. And some other people just want to take some of the heat off because they don't want to work, they don't want to work so hard for the rest of their life. They're getting tired. There's other people that really, they say, what, like Alan, she says, I want to spend my summers in Ireland and I'll spend the rest of the year in Texas. So he's chiseled his life that way, sculpted his life that way. So that's the life he's living now. And he can spend, his whole summer with his kids and his wife in Ireland with his mom and dad. Right. So, but some people's vision isn't that big. So we have to honor wherever they are. They might want just to make $500 a month would make a huge difference. And as Joyce said, people's vision changes. It grows when they see what's possible with this business. It may start out as, with a vision of only, wanting to make $500 or so a month. And then it might say, why wouldn't I want to make $500 a day? Or, what would happen if I made $500 an hour? They've never even really thought of the possibility. Maybe don't even know anybody who earns that kind of money. And when they realize it's possible in this vehicle, it all of a sudden the possibilities open up in their brain, and all kinds of things become possible that they never thought was possible, because they've never had a vehicle that could deliver. And where it's not just for the people at the top, it's for anybody who's willing to put in the time and the energy and the work to accomplish that, right? It's not just for the select few, it's for anybody who wants it, who, has to verbalize and says, look, pick me, I want to do this, teach me what I need to do. I will do this consistently for 3 to 5 years. I know it's not a overnight thing, but I'm willing to do whatever it takes because I want my freedom. I want to travel the world. I want to go, the more specific you are about your vision, where specifically you want to go, how much it's going to cost. If you want a lake house, what the monthly payments are going to be, on what lake, where, have you picked it out? Have you talked to a real estate agent? How serious are you about manifesting this for real? Whatever it is, do you want a motorcycle? What kind, what color, what brand, what year? Do you have a picture of it in your house? Do you have it on your phone? How devoted are you to manifesting this vision? Do you want a certain body? Do you want a certain lifestyle? Do you want a certain partner? Do you want to eat certain food? Do you want to hire somebody to clean your house? Do you want to have a private chef, have somebody cook for you?
You're
Do you want to have somebody train you, or right? What about a weekly massage? I mean, have you ever just kind of dream dumped on a piece of paper and really kind of, gone through what's important and what's not important to you, and really, wrote down some things that really get you excited inside? Like, that doesn't matter to me, but that, I would love that. Do you have any of that going on, Joyce?
Yeah, I loved it when Rosemary Skinner did that at the event, and my camera just went all weird. But let me see if I can turn my camera back on. I don't know what just happened to my camera, but anyhow, it's trying to zoom in on me. Rosemary Skinner did that 300 list. You got to write down everything. She did it at the convention, and she challenged us to write the 300 wish list. I'll tell you, I got to 150. You had to, without it being redundant, you really had to work on that. So, but that was neat. And that's what I understand Mel Sword is really clear about. You need to spend an hour a day dreaming. I think Peg Coates told me that was what she and Mel talked about a lot, is that hour a day dreaming. So it looks like I'm dreaming now because I'm all blurry, but I'll figure out my camera.
Dreaming about what you want. What Rosemary was suggesting you do is write down 300 things, 300 wishes that you have, and then start to cull through those wishes and chisel down to the ones that are most important, and the next most important, the next most important, right?
It's the Steve Harvey list. If you look him up on YouTube, the 300 something, that you'll find it. But it's good. It forces your brain to expand, like all the things you were just listing. I think I missed the massages every week. I'm going to add that.
Right. But what do you do to keep yourself dreaming? What do you do to sharpen your vision?
Well, I tell you, over the past 20 plus years that we've been in network marketing, I've done quite a few vision boards, but I realize, and it's kind of the reason we're having this subject tonight, is how much I need to do another one. After a while, it turns out either, as you said, you grow and your ideas, your wishes, your dreams change, or guess what? You've actually accomplished a lot of the dreams that are on there. And Cindy was talking about, like, if you wanted a motorcycle, what year, what color, trust me, if you find the right model, but the wrong color, don't put it on your vision board, because you will for sure get it. We were in a class where we were doing vision boards, and someone got up and talked about how they wanted, I think it was a red Corvette, and they couldn't find a picture of a red Corvette, so they put a picture of a yellow Corvette on their vision board, and damned if like 3 years later he didn't have a yellow Corvette. Because it was hard to find them in different places or whatever, and this was the only one available, and he said, go ahead, give it to me. So anyway, I think that one thing that we should just cover a little bit as far as vision boards is, guys, how do you do your vision boards? I found it really fun and exciting to do it with other people. We've done it on Zooms with other people. We've certainly done it in the room with other people. We've just brought in a lot of magazines. I mean, 50, 100 magazines, so we could all look through and find the things that were interesting to us. But being able to see other people's vision boards as well is really exciting. It's like knowing someone's why really well and seeing those things on there and being able to share your thoughts and vision with them and them sharing theirs with us. So I think that something, if you guys want to go to the next level, you may want to talk about getting your team together, or if you don't have that much of a team, just go crossline, go upline, and talk about putting together maybe a vision board Zoom party. It seems a little funny, but hey, we're all together and we get to talk about it. We can play music, we can have a glass of wine, whatever is good. But yeah, it's time for us to, or for me, definitely to do another one. I think Cindy agrees. It's time for her to do another one as well.
Absolutely. And
Love that.
a lot's
Yeah.
done digitally these days too, where you can, you can download things on the computer. You can, you can make a digital vision board that stays with you on your phone, on your computer, your wallpaper. I mean, because the idea is to keep it in front of you. And when you look at it, you should get excited. I mean, so that you know that it really matters. It just can't be like, whatever. It would be, it's the resort that you want to visit, the hotel that you want to stay in, the room that you want to have, the
people you want to be with.
The people that you want to be with, enjoy it with. Yeah, because it's one thing going to that resort all by yourself. I mean, and the thing is that ASEA is so great in setting up a lot of that dream work for us, because they already put together top shelf 5-star events that we can qualify to win. And when you qualify to win those events, you feel like you're living your dream, because you're like, man, I'm so cheap. I would never pay for this myself. It's so great that ASEA is, paying for this for us, because, we get to enjoy the best of the best of the best of the best without cutting any corners, because they treat us like royalty on those trips, absolute royalty. So it helps, it helps the dream machine just get bigger and bigger and bigger. And there's enough pie for everybody. It's not when you take your slice of pie, you're taking pie away from somebody else. You just make a bigger pie. There's enough pie for everybody. And that's why this whole business model of ASEA is so exciting, because it's not like corporate America, Joyce, where there's only one guy at the top and all the people at the bottom do all the work and only the guy at the top makes all the money. It's not like that. It's everybody's at the top of their own company, and everybody has the same opportunity to make this as big or as small as they want to make it. It can grow a big team or a small team. And what Dorothy said earlier, it's a personal growth mission wrapped in a compensation plan. We do have to become our best selves in order to attract the people we want to attract on this, mission that we're on. So it's definitely a work in progress as we're becoming who we want to be to, build the business that we want to build. But so we're getting down to the bottom of the half hour. Just throw any last comments, and we'll start with Dorothy. Throw any last comments that you have with regards to the importance of vision, and any kind of tips that you can, throw out to people that are listening tonight about how you would recommend, what you would recommend they do to empower their vision, grow their vision, or think about their deliberate vision of what they want to create.
Well, and like you and I said earlier about every day you have an opportunity to create your day or become just a result of a day. And, you let things happen to you, or you create what happens to you. And I think for me, I've been doing some personal work currently about my self-image. And I didn't grow up having a great self-image. And in addition to a vision board, and I need to update mine, but I do have something great happening from my vision board. But I think writing out how you want to see yourself, how you want others to see yourself, and, write it out in present tense, read it out loud, and read it every day. And it starts to sink in. You actually start to believe it about yourself. So I recommend that, and I'm seeing some really good readings. So
Yeah. So reading
just
self-affirming,
belief in yourself.
yeah, reading self-affirming
Mhm.
statements
Yeah.
with enthusiasm and belief. Yeah, awesome. Joyce, what do you recommend as far as building your vision and really fine-tuning your vision to get you where you want to go?
It ties into Dorothy. What I've been doing is meditating in the morning, and I use the Joe Dispenza meditation, where he really has you calm, but you get into the area of what you don't want to be doing and what do you want to do to replace that? What's your behavior? It's really the self-image, how you see yourself in the future and really owning that. But because we all know the mind has that power, right? So it's that visualization. But I really enjoyed just getting excited about what's on my vision board. And I made it something that didn't feel so daunting. Like, I just want this little swing chair on my front porch. That's all.
Yeah.
And it feels attainable, but it's enough that's making me, like, I sit where I have my coffee and I look out there and I'm like, that's where that's going, right there. So,
Yeah. Well, you know what? You bring up something really interesting, Joyce, because it has to be believable. It can be big and it can be bold and all that kind of stuff, but it has to be believable. Otherwise, it's a form of self-sabotage.
Yeah.
Because, if you're going to manifest world peace on your own and you're going to become the president of the United States, I mean, you can say it and it sounds good and whatever, but it's not likely to happen. And you know that deep down. And so having something that's very concrete like that, it was so important when Bo and I, decided we were going to do this. We knew exactly what we had to earn on a weekly basis, in order to get him out of his job. We knew exactly, so it was, as soon as that number was coming in on a weekly basis from our ASEA paycheck, I mean, that was what made it concrete. So you have to have that belief portion of your vision. Otherwise it's just, pie in the sky thinking. So thanks for bringing that up.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Bo, any final thoughts?
Well, I think one thing we've been talking about each other's vision and our vision boards, but I think one of the best ways that we can share ASEA with people is share our vision of ASEA and how big it can be. I mean, to think that, the ripple effect that is built through each one of our interaction with other people throughout 33 plus countries, and it'll continue to grow as time goes on here, which is fantastic. But it's just knowing that, when people start saying, oh, making money off of people that are hurting or something, it's like, no, the more money that we make, the more people we've helped. And talk about Vertus's vision, the vision of being, the #1 company in the world doing this. Guess what? We are. We absolutely are the biggest people in the redox space, and we're the only people that have ever been able to stabilize this technology and are able to share it with people so that they can live a better form of life and help humanity. And I think when we start talking to people about these things, they can share in the vision and want to at least learn more, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. And when you're out there talking to people, you might want to just ask them, what do you dream about?
Mm-hmm.
Just ask them, what do you dream about? And be quiet and let them talk, and learn about what's important to them. And when they might be stunned because they might not have dreamed for a while, that might be a hard question for some people. And other people say, oh man, I dream of going to Greece. I've always wanted to go to Greece. And then you say, well, what's stopping you? Oh, I can't afford to go to Greece, or I can't get the time off. You know how many hours it takes to get over there. And then you only have so much time before you have to come back. I only get 2 weeks off a year, and 1 week I got to spend with my family at Christmas. So that takes 1 week. And I only, so all of a sudden well, if I could show you a way where you could have more time off and pay for that trip to Greece, it'd be something you want to look into. I mean, I don't know, and if they're open, you have an opening. If they're not, no problem. You just help them dream a little bit, remind them of what's important to them. So yeah, thank you guys so much. Thank you so much. Really, really appreciate all your thoughts and all your wisdom about vision. We can all definitely hone our vision skills, because the bigger our vision, the bigger the results that we'll get. There's the only thing stopping us from what we create is ourselves. So thank you guys so much, and appreciate everybody for joining us.
Thank
Good night,
you.
everybody.
This was a fun conversation.
Yeah.
Okay. Bye.
Good night.